You know that moment when you realize your entire family thinks you're disposable? Yeah, that moment happened to me on a Thursday afternoon, with the smell of engine grease still on my hands and my mom screaming at me like I was the criminal. My name is Kevin. I'm 24, work full-time as a mechanic, and I've been saving every damn penny for months to fix up my old '99 Civic. Not because it's some dream car, but because it's the only thing that gets me to work and back. Without it, I'm screwed. No bus lines, no trains. Just miles of road and broken promises. And my sister? Her name's Bella. 17 years old. Daddy's princess. Mama's poor baby. My personal nightmare wrapped in glitter and TikTok attitude. She doesn't work, doesn't study much, and treats our house like a runway for her influencer dreams. I've lost track of how many times she's borrowed my stuffed headphones, money from the change jar, hell, even my work boots once, but this time she went nuclear. Last week, I came home after a brutal 12-hour shift. My back was killing me. All I wanted was to crash. But something felt off. My backpack, the one I never let anyone touch, was open. My cash envelope, the one hidden under the inner lining, gone. Every last dollar. $3,000. I tore through the house like a madman. Searched my room, under my bed, inside the vent where I used to hide stuff when I was a kid. Nothing. I asked Mom first because she's the one who sometimes moves my things when she's cleaning. She looked up from her phone and casually said, "Ask your sister." So I did. Bella was in her room, painting her nails some radioactive pink, earbuds in like the world didn't exist. I knocked hard enough to shake the door frame. "Where's my money?" She didn't even look at me. "What money?" "The envelope in my backpack. You know, the one you weren't supposed to touch." She finally looked up, rolled her eyes and said, "Chill. I just borrowed it." Borrowed. That's the word she used. Like it was $5 for coffee, not my entire savings. I swear I saw red. I asked her what she spent it on, and that's when she flipped her phone around to show me a pair of shoes, $1,200 designer sneakers, and a flight confirmation to Los Angeles. She was going to some influencer convention. "It's my future, Kevin," she said, like that explained everything. I stormed downstairs and told my parents. My dad just sighed like I told him the sink was leaking. My mom asked, "Are you sure you didn't misplace it?" When I told them I was calling the cops, the whole house erupted. My dad stood up so fast his recliner slammed shut. "Are you serious? You're going to ruin her life over some cash." $3,000 isn't some cash, Dad. That was mine. She stole it. Mom started crying. She's just a child. A child who made a mistake. She's 17. I shouted. Old enough to know what theft is. Bella stood on the stairs, arms crossed, not even looking sorry. And when I pulled out my phone and said I was calling 911, she finally snapped. "You're going to call the cops on your own sister? Over money? God, you're so bitter and selfish." My fingers were shaking as I dialed. Not from fear. From fury. No one had my back. Not even a little. My mom tried to slap the phone out of my hand. My dad screamed, "Maybe if you weren't such a damn grump all the time, you wouldn't have to sneak around." That was it. I hit the call button. The operator asked if it was an emergency. I said no, but I needed to report a theft. When the cops arrived, 2 officers, calm but firm parents, tried to spin the whole thing like it was a misunderstanding. "Family matter," they said. "Nothing to see here." But I showed the officers proof. The empty envelope, the screenshots from Bella's phone. I snapped them while she was yelling. The texts where she bragged about her trip. The officers asked Bella to come outside. She started crying immediately. Big fake sobs. But it didn't work. They didn't arrest her. They didn't cuff her. But they did tell my parents that theft is theft even within a family. They gave me a case number, advised me to file a small claims case, and left. As soon as the door closed, my dad exploded. "You just destroyed this family. Are you happy?" I didn't answer. I walked past him out to the garage, sat in my broken-down Civic, and stared at the cracked dashboard. The silence was heavier than the shouting. I thought that was the end of it. I thought, okay, they're mad now, but they'll come around. They'll see she crossed a line. But no. The next morning, my mom slid a plate of eggs in front of me and said, "You will drop that report. You will tell the police it was a mistake. Or you can find somewhere else to live." That was the moment the twist hit me. Not from Bella. From them. My parents. The people who were supposed to teach me right from wrong. They didn't just want peace. They wanted silence. I looked at my mom and asked, "What would you have done if I stole $3,000 from her?" She didn't answer. I packed my bag that afternoon. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. I slept in my friend Nate's guest room that night. Nate's the kind of guy who doesn't ask a lot of questions, but when I told him the basics, he just said, "Man, that's cold." He was the one who gave me the idea that changed everything. "You still got screenshots? Bank statements? Shalog? Post that S online. People eat that drama up." I didn't want revenge, but I wanted the truth out. So I wrote up a post. Detailed, honest, raw. Posted it anonymously on Reddit under AITA. I didn't expect much, but within 12 hours it had 20,000 upvotes and counting. And that's when the second storm hit. By noon the next day my phone was blowing up like a bomb. Notifications every second. Messages. Comments. DMs. People were furious for me. "You did the right thing. She's not a kid, she's a thief. Your parents are enabling her. Get out while you can." And then I got the one that made me freeze. A private message from someone claiming to be Bella's ex-best friend. Her name was Rachel. She said, "I saw your post. I believe you. And I think you should know Bella's done this before." I nearly dropped my phone. Rachel went on to explain that 6 months ago, Bella borrowed $600 from her for a school event. Except the event never existed. When Rachel's parents confronted Bella's, my mom went full Karen on them, accused Rachel of turning on family, even though she wasn't family. They cut contact. I was stunned. My sister had a pattern, and my parents had been covering for her. I called Rachel. She was hesitant at first but eventually sent me a couple of voice notes and screenshots that straight up sank Bella like the Titanic. Messages where Bella bragged about manipulating boomers for money. A selfie with a caption. Said it was for prom but it's actually my Sephora run, LOL, dumb parents. It made me sick. The post kept gaining traction. News aggregators picked it up. A YouTube commentary channel even made a video called "The Spoiled Sister Who Stole $3,000 and Got Away with It." It had 600,000 views by that night. Bella's Instagram went private. Then my mom called. "What the hell did you do?" Her voice was trembling with rage and panic. "Tell me I'm wrong," I said. "Tell me Rachel lied. Tell me you didn't know about the other times." There was a pause. Just a few seconds. But it told me everything I needed. "I don't know what you want from us, Kevin. Do you want to humiliate us? Ruin our lives? I wanted you to stand by me. Just once. You're blowing up our family for likes. For sympathy." "No," I said quietly. "I'm exposing the truth you've buried for years." That night Bella texted me. "Hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. Mom's crying nonstop. Dad's drinking again. You're a monster." I didn't reply. But she didn't stop. A few hours later, she posted a story on her new private IG, tagged with a sad selfie and the text, "When your own blood tries to destroy you. I wish I weren't alive, RN." The comments came fast. Supporters, mostly her friends, calling me toxic. Some strangers saying she was the real victim. And then Rachel messaged again. "You should check her TikTok." I did. I wish I hadn't. Bella had gone live. She was crying, holding our childhood photo, talking about how I was jealous of her success and trying to sabotage her future. Thousands of viewers. Donations flowing in. People offering to cover her legal bills if I didn't back down. She was monetizing the drama. I sat there stunned, watching my sister turn the entire internet into her personal shield. That's when Nate walked in holding 2 beers. "Still think you don't want revenge?" I didn't answer, because honestly I didn't know anymore. The next day I made a choice. I filed the small claims case. I attached everything: screenshots, receipts, chat logs, witness statements. I even added a note explaining that I had no intention of putting her in jail, only of being reimbursed and acknowledged. That was all I ever wanted. Then I posted a final update to my Reddit thread. Titled it, "I just filed charges against my sister. No regrets." It exploded. Over 100,000 upvotes. People began sharing similar stories about golden children, toxic parenting, stolen money, betrayal. It felt like I'd cracked open a collective wound. But then came the real twist. 2 days later, I got an email from someone named Allison Rivera, who claimed to be a social worker. She worked in juvenile mediation and restorative justice. She'd read my post and wanted to help. "I'm not defending her," she wrote, "but I've worked with families in this dynamic before. And sometimes, justice doesn't come from punishment, it comes from confrontation." I ignored it at first. But then Bella's school counselor called me. "Hi, Kevin. I know this is out of the blue, but I'd like to talk to you about Bella." I nearly hung up, but something in her tone made me stay. "She's not okay. Her grades have dropped. She's isolating. She talks about you constantly, how you used to be close. She keeps asking, 'Why does he hate me so much?'" I was stunned, because the truth was, once upon a time I loved that kid. I used to carry her on my shoulders. I used to slip candy under her pillow when she cried at night. But somewhere along the way the roles reversed. I became the invisible one. She became the center of everything. And maybe, just maybe, this whole spiral wasn't just her fault. Still, I wasn't ready to forgive. Not yet. But I was ready to face her. So I called that social worker back. "I'll do one meeting," I said. "One. But I'm not promising anything." She agreed. The mediation was set for Friday at 4 p.m. Bella showed up in oversized sunglasses and a hoodie like she was walking into a courtroom on TMZ. But when she sat across from me and the door closed, something in her cracked. She pulled her sunglasses off, and for the first time in years, I saw her actually cry. Not crocodile tears. Real ones. "I don't know why I did it," she whispered. I thought you didn't care about me anymore. You left every time I messed up. Mom and Dad only yell at you when I screw up. I thought maybe if I got famous or something, they'd stop comparing me to you." It hit me like a punch in the gut, because I'd always assumed she loved being the favorite. I told her everything. The pressure. The loneliness. The feeling of being disposable. And she listened. She actually listened. By the end of that session, we weren't friends. We weren't siblings again. But we were less like strangers. When I left that room, I wasn't angry anymore. But I still needed my money. So the case went forward. 3 weeks later, we were in court. My parents didn't show up. Bella did. She didn't contest it. The judge ordered her to pay it back in installments. No jail time. Just accountability. Afterwards, she handed me a folded note. Inside were 4 words, written in her messy cursive. "I'll earn it back." I didn't know what to make of it. But I kept the note. And for the first time in months, I drove home with a little peace in my chest, even if the Civic still coughed like it had bronchitis. 3 months passed. Bella hadn't missed a single payment. Every 2 weeks, like clockwork, $125 hit my account with the memo line repayment. The first time I saw it, I was convinced it was hush money, a guilt offering. But after the 3rd and 4th transfer, I realized something was different. She was trying. Not just with the money, but in general. Her social media went dark. She got a part-time job at a cafe. I heard from Rachel, the ex-best friend, that Bella had actually apologized to her. In person. With tears and everything. Still, I wasn't rushing to throw a parade. Too much damage had been done. And while Bella was mending some fences, our parents, they didn't budge. Mom hadn't called once since the mediation. Dad sent me a single text. "Hope you're happy. You broke your mother's heart." Not our heart. Her heart. The separation between me and them had become something solid. Palpable. And honestly, it felt better than the fake closeness we had before. Then, 2 days before Thanksgiving, Bella called me out of nowhere. "Hey, you got plans for dinner?" I hesitated. "Why?" "Because I made a reservation. Not with them. Just us. I figured I owe you a turkey leg at least." Her voice was shaky. Nervous. It reminded me of the kid she used to be. Before all the glitz and entitlement caved her in. I told her I'd think about it. The truth? I was terrified. Not of her. But of what seeing her again, really seeing her, might stir up. I ended up going. We met at a small diner on the edge of town. The kind with peeling booths and gravy that tasted like salt and secrets. She was already there when I arrived, dressed in a simple sweater and jeans.
No designer labels. No Eyelas extensions.
Just Bella. And for 2 hours we talked. Not about the money. Not about the trial. Just life. She told me how Mom cried every night after the internet blew up. How Dad started sleeping in the garage. How their golden world cracked the second someone dared to challenge it. They still think I didn't do anything wrong, she said softly. They blame you for all of it. But deep down I know. I wanted to ask what she knew, what she really understood. But before I could, she reached into her bag and handed me something. A manila envelope. Inside. My original envelope. The one with the tear in the corner and my terrible handwriting across the front. Ceremony do not touch. It was empty now, obviously. But it was clean. Neatly pressed. Preserved like it was sacred. I found it stuffed in the back of my drawer, she said. Guess I kept it. Guess I knew someday I'd have to give it back. I stared at it for a long time. The envelope didn't matter. But the act did. It was like she was saying, I see it now. I see you now. After that dinner, something in me shifted. Not everything was forgiven. But something was released. The next day, I got a call from my Uncle Troy, me Mom's younger brother. He lived 2 states over and only visited once every few years, usually for funerals or free food. He sounded tense. Kevin. I saw the post. I saw everything. I waited. I just want to say I believe you. Always did. Your mom's been covering for that girl since she was in diapers. That caught me off guard. Uncle Troy said he'd seen the favoritism from the start. Bella was the miracle baby. The one Mom had almost lost during a risky pregnancy. After that, he said, your mom treated her like glass. And you? Like backup. He also told me something else. Something that twisted the knife in ways I wasn't ready for. When your grandmother died, she left you a savings account. $10,000. For school or a car. Your mom was the executor. I froze. What? Yeah, she told us she gave it to you already. Said you used it on college. I never saw a cent. Silence. He cursed under his breath. You should look into that. And so I did. I requested the probate records. Got my hands on some old bank statements. With the help of Nate, who turned out to be a whiz at spreadsheets, I traced the funds. The money had been transferred into my mother's account the week after the funeral. It never made it to me. She spent it. Every cent. I don't remember breathing for the next 10 minutes. Bella might have stolen $3,000. But Mom? She stole my future. I called her. This time she picked up on the first ring. Kevin, she said, her voice sweet but tight. Are you coming for Christmas? No, I said. I just have one question. Where's Grandma's money? Silence. Then, what are you talking about? I didn't even bother arguing. I emailed her the documents. Screenshots. Account numbers. The transfer logs. She blocked me. Blocked me. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so typical. They couldn't face anything real. They only knew how to spin stories and blame other people. That night I told Bella everything. She didn't cry. She didn't deny it. She just whispered, I'll help you get it back. And for the first time I believed her. It's been a year since then. I've moved into a small place with Nate as my roommate. Bella and I aren't best friends, but we talk every week. She's almost done repaying the full $3,000. She's still in therapy. She still works at the cafe. Mom and Dad? I haven't heard from them. Not once. Sometimes I miss them. The version of them I made up in my head. The version where they were fair and loving and saw me. But then I remember that family isn't just about blood. It's about respect. And truth. And sometimes to heal you have to burn the lies to the ground. I still drive that old Civic. It rattles like a shopping cart on a gravel road. But I fixed it myself. With my hands. With my money. And no one can take that from me again. 16 months after that first explosion, I got an envelope in the mail with no return address. Inside was a birthday card. I almost tossed it without reading, assuming it was another spammy Hallmark junk mail piece. But something about the handwriting on the envelope made me pause. It was my dad's. The card itself was blank except for one sentence scrawled in pen. If you're still my son, You'll come home before your mother dies hating you. I stared at those words for a long time. Not please come home. Not we miss you. Just guilt. Emotional blackmail written in cheap ink. And I finally realized they were never going to change. Not because they were incapable of love, but because they had wrapped themselves in a fantasy where Bella was a helpless angel and I was the bitter outsider. Any attempt to challenge that was seen as betrayal. I could have ignored it. I should have. But some part of me, some broken, hopeful fragment needed closure. So I went back. It was a Saturday. Cold. The sky gray like a warning. I stood at the front door of the house I grew up in, the one I used to dream of owning someday. Now it just looked hollow. Mom answered. She was thinner than I remembered. Her hair had gone grayer, her eyes darker. For a second I almost didn't recognize her. She didn't smile. You came, she said flatly. You asked me to. She stepped aside without a word. The house hadn't changed. Same rug. Same crooked picture of our family in that fake wood frame. But the air felt heavy. Stale. Like grief had been living there. Dad was in the kitchen nursing a beer. He didn't look up when I walked in. I got your card, I said quietly. He exhaled through his nose. Didn't think you would. I wanted to. That surprised him. We sat. And for once I didn't shout. I didn't accuse. I just laid it out. All of it. The favoritism. The silence. The theft. The lies about Grandma's money. The way they made me feel invisible and replaceable. Dad didn't deny anything. He just looked tired. Like he'd spent his whole life defending a wall he no longer believed in. Your mom, she couldn't let go of the idea that Bella needed more love. After the miscarriage before her, she got scared. You were always strong. Always quiet. She thought you didn't need her. I did need her, I said. You both just weren't listening. And then came the moment I never saw coming. From the hallway someone said, "He's right." Bella stepped into the room. She had a small suitcase in her hand. And then she said something I'll never forget. "I'm moving out." Mom looked like she'd been slapped. "What?" "I'm moving in with Kevin for a while." I nearly choked. "Wait, what now?" "I told you I'd earn it back," she said, giving me a weak smile. "And I'm tired of pretending this house isn't sick."
Bella mom stood.
"You're being dramatic."
No, Bella snapped.
"I'm being honest. For once." The next 15 minutes were a train wreck. Screaming, pleading, guilt-tripping. But Bella didn't budge. She walked out of that house with her head held high, suitcase rolling behind her. And I followed her. She stayed on my couch for 3 months. In that time, she applied to community college, started therapy again, and even began volunteering at a youth center for girls who'd grown up in toxic families. One night, I asked her why she really left. She hesitated, then said, "Because you were the only person who ever told me the truth, even when it hurt. And I realized that's what real love looks like." That broke me. I cried. We both did. And for the first time since we were kids, we hugged. Not a stiff, awkward hug. A real one. Today, I still live in the same apartment. The Civic finally died, but I've got a used Toyota that runs like a dream. Bella's taking classes in psychology. She says she wants to help kids like Yusins who got lost in the shadows of their own families. Our parents, we don't talk. Not because I hate them. I don't. I just don't need them anymore. They made their choices. And I finally made mine. This story isn't just about money, or betrayal, or even justice. It's about truth, and how sometimes telling it is the most radical thing you can do. So if you're reading this and wondering if it's worth it standing up, speaking out, breaking the family script, it is. Even if it costs you everything. Because what you get in return is priceless.